Welcome to Career Boss. I'm Bruce. I've been a senior executive and an entrepreneur. I've learned a lot about the business world that you won't find in any business management textbook. And I'd like to share what I've learned with you. Today, we're talking about confidence, in particular, something you may be doing that's hurting your personal brand when it comes to confidence and how people perceive you. And that is the use of weasel words. Let's get into it. So first of all, I hadn't realized I was using weasel words. This was several years ago. I gave a report to one of my employees who was a great writer, and I said, "Can you take a look at this for me, please?" She says, "It looks good, except you've got an awful lot of weasel words in there." So what I didn't realize was that because of that, I was coming across as less confident. So weasel words can be a single word, and I'm going to show you an example in a second here, or a group of words that dilute the point that you're making. So here's an example of single weasel words. They're words that you're going to find such as I could, or I can, or we might, or we may. One that I use way too much is possibly this will happen. Another one is we'll try. Do you see why they're weasel words? These need to be replaced by will. We will. Our team will. There's also groups of weasel words. Phrases that remove precision and reduce accountability. Things like the vast majority of something, that doesn't really tell you a heck of a lot. But if you say 74% of people trying our newest product will purchase it again, that shows that you're completely confident. 74% will purchase it again, rather than saying the vast majority. Another one is, it is likely. You have to come across that you know. So at the current cost of fuel, our profitability will decrease by 2.9 million this quarter. That's a lot better than it is likely that we're going to incur losses due to the price of fuel. And the last one is, it seems. So instead of saying it seems like many of our employees aren't interested in coming to our conference, if you say 225 employees out of 445 will not be attending our strategic planning session, it's not only more information, it's more credible. And it shows you're confident. So really think about this. Which is more believable to your reader or your listener? Facts or just a statement such as the vast majority or it seems? So I was curious. I asked myself how long had weasel words been around? It seems like they've been around a long time. The expression first appeared in Stuart Chaplin's short story, Stained Glass Political Platform, which was published in 1900, in which weasel words were described as words that suck the life out of the words next to them, just as a weasel sucks the egg and leaves the shell. Wow, that's serious. So where do we find weasel words? Well, we can find weasel words in emails that we write, or in texts that we send, in memos, in reports, in analyses, in strategic plans, pitches, presentations, and even in conversations. So there's three reasons that we typically use weasel words. And the first one is uncertainty. You're not confident about what you're going to say. We don't want to stick our neck out if there is the risk that we could be wrong. We're uncomfortable with accountability. They provide a level of ambiguity if you're not sure. And sometimes you use them if you prefer not to have anything written down or spoken, or you want to have something written down or spoken rather than saying absolutely nothing. So you couch it in weasel words. That doesn't show any confidence, and in fact, your statement is going to be seen as weak. Fear. We're afraid of making a strong statement. Something's holding us back. And please, 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 when you're working with executives, make strong statements. Show your confidence. That's critically important. We know what we want to write or say, but don't have the confidence to actually say or write it. You feel it must have to be softened a little bit to protect yourself. You feel protected by not committing to something. That doesn't show confidence. Deniability. We use weasels to avoid taking a stand. If we don't say anything, the thinking goes, we can't be wrong. We believe we can avoid criticism this way, and it just simply shows that we lack confidence. How do we stop using weasel words? Sorry, this is going to be a little bit blurry on this slide, but here in this PowerPoint presentation that I've done for you, I've written it's pretty challenging to stop. And I've also written it's going to feel really uncomfortable to stop using weasel words. But if you look closely, you see under the words pretty and challenging that there are little dotted lines under there that Microsoft products such as Word or PowerPoint point out to you. And what these do is they help to remove the weasel words. So in this case, I'm sure you can't read this very well, but it says challenging. So in other words, take out the word pretty and just have in challenging. And the same with the one below where it says it's going to feel really uncomfortable. They're saying take out the word really, it doesn't add value to you. So recap, where do most people use weasel words? Well, when they're giving a presentation. Maybe it's actually in the presentation itself, or maybe it's something that you're saying. They have them in reports. You may not be sure about something, so you can't stand by it, and that doesn't help you. The other things are plans. Now, strategic plans, business plans, marketing plans, financial plans, they all have to have a sense of confidence. So this is the word that we will do this. The words we will do this are critically important to have, not the weasel words that we typically see. And of course, when you're on or in a meeting, when you're on a meeting call or in a meeting, just check yourself that you don't use weasel words. So here's a site called, well, you can read it, withoutbs.com. And they gave this example here. It says, if you wrote Donald Trump is frequently disdainful of media figures, why not just write Donald Trump is disdainful of media? We've taken the frequently out, we've taken the figures out, we've made it simple as a statement. Donald Trump is disdainful of media. It's still a generalization, as they say here, but much stronger now, even if it falls short of disdainful of all media. So how do you get rid of these weasels? I have to do this on a regular basis. It was 20 years ago that I learned that I use weasel words, so I still pay attention to make sure that I don't use them. So make the weasel hunt part of your editing process. If it's something you're going to present or a report you're going to give, or even if you're talking, watch out for these weasel words. If you take the weasel word out, you've got to make sure that the sentence still makes sense. You need to add a little bit to clarify what you're saying. But the whole point here is to make it as bold as you feel comfortable. The bolder your statements, the better. Number two, replace your weasel words. Make specific statements such as, this is an example again from withoutbs.com. Don't write many chief information officers lack power if you really mean to say CEOs in large public companies lack power. That's quite different. So what we're doing here is narrowing down the target about which you're generalizing to say something more meaningful. If you have a precise target there, it's certainly more believable and people's confidence in you climbs. Next one, replace your weasels with quantifiable numbers. So imagine you're giving a presentation regarding the impact of COVID, and you say, high income families were more likely to work from home during the pandemic. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, when someone tells me something like this, the first question I have is, to what extent? More likely, that doesn't tell me much. So why not provide the details that people want? So you're giving a presentation, instead of saying that, say something like 45% of dual earner salaried couples in the top 10% of earnings distribution had both spouses working from home. This was 9 times the rate of 5% observed for their counterparts in the bottom 10% of the earnings distribution in terms of couples. That's huge. But it has more impactful than saying high-income families were more likely. Confidence comes when you provide the numbers. So quantify where you can. Say what you believe. So the article on the bs.com site says, if you can't do any of the previous, ask yourself what you're actually ready to say. Maybe you're not comfortable with a generalization like pharmaceutical companies are only out for profit. You could weasel it by saying, I'm worried that many big pharmaceutical companies are focused on money. But surely you can say something stronger. You could say the profit motive is corrupting the drug business. Bam! There's a statement. Or you could say, as long as drug companies are public companies, money will influence their decisions. That's powerful. Not pharmaceutical companies are only out for profit. This is much stronger. As long as drug companies are public companies, money will influence their decisions. All right. Here's the worst weasel words that I always have to watch out for. Words like try. We will try to do this by Q3. No, we will do this by Q3. This could possibly work. No, this will work because of these three factors, A, B, C. Could. We could do this, I believe. No, we will do this because we have this ready to go. Or we might, the same sort of thing. Not we might be able to do this, it's we can do this. We will do this. Here's a final thought. In business, as an employee, whether you're a junior person starting out or you're a seasoned CEO, you always have to be ready to take a stand, to say what's on your mind, particularly if it's critical to the success of the company you work for. So dump the weasel words. You don't need them. I study everything I write and everything I do to eliminate weasel words. I don't forget to do it. If you want to know a little bit more about presenting to senior executives, I have another video on how to present to senior management. You need to prove that you're somebody that they want to work with, that you are valuable and you're memorable. And removing weasel words are going to really impact how people see your personal brand. Thanks for watching. I'm Bruce from Career Boss.